Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to have a seminar on the magic of time management. My name is Miranda Connelly. I'm an ASC peer tutor as well as your student trustee and ASB board president for fall of 2021. All right. So first off, what is time management? Time management is allocating time, written or time interval based, for important specific tasks. It's a method of being the most efficient one can be. It's a method on maximizing productivity and sense of accomplishment, and also it's unique to the individual. So my endless to-do lists and calendars may not be what works for another person, right? Time management is all up to the person. It's very unique. Okay, so why is time management important? Well, the main reason for me is it keeps me sane. If I don't know what I'm doing during a day and I just have to wing it, it may sound great for all those improvisers around there, but I can't handle it. It has to be planned out for me, right? It keeps me sane. Next is it keeps me organized. It really increases my organization and just sense of togetherness if I have a plan, right? It also helps me avoid overbooking myself, right? And it can help you avoid overbooking yourself. So making sure that you're not overbooking appointments or meetings or classes, anything like that. Time managing really helps with scheduling and making sure you're not overextending yourself, right? It also allows yourself to take breaks, right? So if it's in your schedule, there's no excuse not to take a break, right? If you say, take a lunch for half an hour, there's no excuse to not do that because it's in your schedule, you have the time, you have nothing else to do, just go ahead and take it, right? And that also helps with your sanity and also your productivity. It also increases the sense of stability and achievement. So I know that a lot of people transitioning from a traditional face-to-face scheduled learning environment really had a hard time when they had to transition to online because there's no schedule. There was no, you go to your class in this room at this time. It was, no, you have a week to do this assignment, figure it out yourself, right? So that if you time manage and make a schedule for yourself, it really helps increase that sense of stability. And then also it gives you a sense of achievement when you can mark things off your to-do list, right? It's actually a little bit more satisfying than just, going to class, right? Because you actually have physical achievement in front of you and you can watch it happen. You can watch yourself check off all your boxes, right? And because of this, there's less stress, right? If you time manage correctly, then you know exactly what you're doing, exactly right time. There's never a sense of what's happening, right? It's just, there's less stress all around. You're not overbooking yourself. It's just less stress, right? It also helps with procrastinating. So when you can schedule in time to work on things and it's in your schedule, there's no excuse, you automatically will procrastinate a little less. Not to say that schedulers don't procrastinate, but it just really helps with procrastinating because, first of all, a lot of procrastinating comes from the dreading of getting started, right? Or anything else like that. So if you have it on your to-do list to start it, it really helps in preventing that, right? Also, because of all the above mentioned items, you have some mental health benefits, right? If you're not stressed, you're probably not that anxious, right? If you are spending time and taking breaks, right? You're not overexerting yourself or overextending yourself, and you're taking breaks for yourself and increasing your mental health all around, right? So also, time management helps combat hyperfixation. So this is actually a symptom of ADD and ADHD related disorders as well. But it also just comes with anxiety or anything that comes with being a student, honestly. We've all done the thing where we're sitting on an essay and we work on the first sentence for 3 hours, and then you realize that 3 hours have gone by and you only have done one sentence, right? Because you wanted to get it perfect. So if you have a time management schedule, this helps combat that. So if you say, okay, I'm only going to work on this assignment for 2 hours and then I'm moving on to the next thing. It's like budgeting money, right? If time is money, time is a resource, right? So if you budget it correctly, you won't spend too much in one area or too little in another, right? It really helps budget your time and manage your time, right? If you have a check for $10,000, you don't want to blow it all on a Rolex watch, right? You want to buy a couple more things, right? So, also, it combats overwhelming tasks by breaking them up into smaller, more manageable tasks, right? So if you have a term paper to write, let's say it's 5 pages and it's a research essay, right? You can say, okay, we have 5 weeks to do it. This week I'm going to work on page 1, and then all the next week I'm going to work on a page a week, right? And then, or maybe even break it up and say the first week is all research, and then week 2 I'm going to do 2 pages, and then all the rest of the weeks I'm going to do one page per week, right? However you want to manage your time, that is going to determine how you can break up that pretty large task into small manageable tasks. Also, doing that gives more items on your to-do list to check off, which also increases your sense of achievement, your motivation to do better, your motivation to do things, right? Because you see them being marked off, you see it's possible, and that all around helps your productivity and your mental health, right? It's much easier to just mark off things and feel better about it. I do that thing where I will do something, but I forgot to write a to-do list, so I'll write the same thing down just so I can mark it off, because it makes you feel better about yourself and makes you feel like you're actually achieving things, even if it's only marginal. But you gotta have little wins every once in a while, right? So those are the basics on why time management is important. Okay, so next, how can you manage your time better? Well, the first, and to me, the most obvious option is a calendar, right? If you can see your month, your year, your day in front of you, you can see, okay, from this time frame, I have this appointment. And then, or from this time frame, I have this class. Therefore, all the other time, I have time to work on my homework. But on Monday, I have 6 hours to work on my homework, right? What am I going to do with that 6 hours? And there you can break it up into for me, to-do lists. And some people just planners and schedulers, right? So, again, next item, to-do lists are the place where my heart is the most happy. I have about 3 to-do lists at least going on at once, all color-coded, and I have one for monthly, weekly, and daily. I have all 3. So, those really help me. I actually use to-do lists and calendars in conjunction. I use calendars for monthly overviews. I have 2. And then I have to-do lists. Like I said, I have 3. And that just helps me organize my thoughts on multiple levels, and I don't have to worry about anything else. That encompasses my time management. But again, that might not work with everyone. Some people love planners. Some people live out of their planners, right? Because they can include everything. They include time for working on things. They include time for class. They include everything. It's literally called a planner, right? So some people love planners. I tend to buy them at the beginning of the semester, do about 2 pages in them, and then I'm done with them because for some reason my brain doesn't like them. And yet I can spend 2 hours on a to-do list. So again, time management is all about what works for you. So this is another option that you can try if you haven't tried anything else, right? Or anything else. Next is another option, and it's called time interval alarms. So this is the exact same concept of a to-do list that has time markers, but it's basically you set a reminder on your phone that says, stop working on term paper at 8:53, I don't know, right? And so you say, okay, I'm going to work on this assignment for an hour, and then the next assignment for another hour. It's basically just breaking your time up into blocks and saying you're only going to work on this one specific thing for that hour, but then you're going to switch the next hour. So that way it budgets your time and you're not spending too much time on one thing, right? This is a great way to combat hyperfixation, and also just combat a lot of other things, right? Combat distraction, procrastination, all of that. This is another great option. You could even use this in conjunction with all 3 of these above. That would be fantastic, right? Next is another tip. Schedule time to make your lists and schedules. So if you're like me and you have 2 calendars and 3 to-do lists, right? You need time to make those lists and schedules, right? So I would say I spend an hour every Sunday making all those things for the week. So that way I'm planned out for the week, right? That is in my schedule, and that is in, even if it's a mental schedule, right? I am going to take that time for myself to plan out my week. That's my goal, right? Next is schedule breaks and other activities. So if you don't have a lunch to look forward to, you're going to be a lot less motivated. If you don't have a 10-minute stretch break, you're going to get sore by the end of the day, and then you're going to feel just not good the rest of the week, right? It actually has been scientifically proven that when companies give their employees longer breaks or even more smaller breaks, their productivity actually increases exponentially. So if it works for large companies, it'll work for you, right? Break up tasks into parts. So this is the same thing like I said earlier. If you have a giant term paper, break it up into parts and it'll be much more manageable. Plus you'll have more things to mark off and it's a higher sense of achievement, like I said. And then finally, the most important thing is find the method that works for you. Again, like I said, my endless color-coded to-do lists and calendars might not work with you, may not work for everybody, right? It may give you a headache. It may make you cringe with how much time and effort that went into it, right? If you say, I can't spend that much time and effort on my essay, how the heck can I spend that on my to-do list, right? So find whatever method works best for you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be approved by any person. Just find the one that works the best for you. You can do it. I believe in you. So finally, some things to remember. Like I said, this is kind of just an overview of what I've said the entire time, is everyone is unique, right? No one-size-fits-all method, right? You have to find what works best for you and experiment. Don't be afraid to fail. So the first method that you come up with may not work for you. You may do it for 2 days and like it, but then it's not sustainable for you, or you don't like to keep up with it, or it's just too easy to drop off. If that's the case, it's not the one for you, and you need to find a new one, right? But you can find it. I totally believe in you, and I know you can, all right? Have compassion for yourself. This comes with don't being afraid to fail, right? Just know that you're trying your best, and you're trying as much as you possibly can to manage your time, and you're not going to be perfect, right? Seasoned professionals, people who time manage like crazy to the point where it's actually too much time management, have moments where they just completely disregard their schedule and procrastinate all day, right? But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to just have a day of not doing anything. And you know what? You can schedule that, right? You can say, okay, if I did extra credit, I don't need to do this assignment. I don't need to do it, right? You can say that to yourself and you can schedule that in. And that is a method of managing your time, right? You're budgeting what you need to be successful. Budgeting the time that you need to be successful, right? And then be flexible when needed. So you can make a great schedule and then something happens and you need to throw it out the door, right? Life happens. Not all schedules take that into account. So make sure you're flexible with your schedule. So your schedule is flexible with you, right? And finally, remember, you got this. I believe in you. You can do it. You're going to be successful. You got this, right? Okay. Now, go forth, my time management magicians. You got this, and I believe in you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful semester. Have a wonderful life. Okay? You got it. Mwah.